Greetings, people. It's the 24th of December 2025, so it's Christmas Eve, and I'm just making a video just to give you an update of what I've been up to and stuff like that. But first of all, I'd just like to thank all of you who have been watching my videos and the ones that have given me a like and subscribe. You know, thank you very much for that. It's much appreciated. The main reason I'm making it is because I wanted to highlight something that happens quite often in the wild camping world, but it's never happened to me before. So what it basically is I was out on Saturday with my mate. And by the way as well, since I've made my last camping video, I've been out 5 times. I've been out and not filmed. I've been out once on my own, twice with Andy Beavers and twice with my mate Anthony. And just when I'm with other people, I'm not in the right headspace for doing filming and stuff like that. I want to catch up and just have a chat, and you know, I like doing the filming when I'm on my own. However, saying that, when I was out on Saturday night, me and Anthony, we did like a night hike, a night nav, you know, practice thing. We started off in Edale, we went up Greensbrook Clough, and then back along the edge towards Ringing Roger, but then we nipped over the 5-minute crossing and did a camp at Sealstones and that. So rather than sit in the tent for 14, 15 hours and pitch black, we just thought we'd make some good use of the dark hours, and it's something that I'd recommend to you all. I mean, obviously get your navigation skills right in daylight first, and then once you've nailed that, it's worth putting yourself out of your comfort zone, really. Obviously, you've got to be really switched on and, understand fully what the features are on a map and stuff like that, so you don't end up, walking off an edge or, the wrong direction. So anyway, but yeah, so the thing I want to highlight is that, I'm a great lover of the the Hilleberg Solo. And it isn't actually my favourite tent for the UK claggy wet conditions. My favourite tent is the Light Waves series, the S15 and the S20. However, they are 4-season tents, and even though they're 4-season tents, it's not my first choice for a very windy, hostile condition summit tent. That's the job for the Red Bull, for the Hilleberg Solo. So anyway, so what happened to me was, I've not used the S15 for a while, and out of both the Lightwave S15 and S20s, the S15 is a bit problematic in terms of putting the poles in. Well, it is on my version of it. So, well, these days you can't even, I don't think there's any available at all. I think they might have stopped manufacturing, but it's a brilliant tent because it's breathable. And if you manage it right, you can end up having a bone dry interior where other tents in high humidity situations would just get oversaturated. So anyway, so this difficulty with my tent is because on the 2 eye holes where you put your end of your pole and the grommet, the tents are that tensioned, which is great for buffering wind, but it's difficult to get the poles in. So what I did basically was, I'd not used it for a while, and I sort of kind of rushed it a little bit, and I was trying to put a little bit of bend in the pole to help the end of the pole, this bit, go into the grommet, the eyelet, and anyway, I ended up snapping it. So this is it now, and this is the main reason why I want to make this video. So when it happened, it wasn't broken in two, and this point here was wider than the diameter of the pole jacks. So again, on this occasion, I'm glad I was with Anthony, because he was in his QU Stormstar, and usually what I do when I'm going out, not when I'm taking the HMG Mid, which is a tent, trekking pole tent, but usually when I'm taking the tents, I usually have a pole jack inside my peg bag, and what I do is I put it on a peg so it doesn't take up any excess volume. Anyway, on this occasion didn't have it, and luckily Anthony did. So the main point I'm trying to get across here is that in all my time and you're talking 5 decades now, I've never broken a tent pole, ever, right? Obviously, I've broken a walking pole because I did that last year, and that was a first for me too. But yeah, so this point I'm trying to make is that when you break a tent pole, if it hasn't broken two, this bit is a wider diameter than the pole jack. So the problem is that when you put the pole jack on above the broken bit and you're going to tape it in place, you can't get it past that thing without making that small enough so that the pole jack will go over it. Now, I don't know if there's any videos out there. I've never seen one. I've never even looked for one really. But I've just seen videos where people have snapped tent poles and it's been game over. So they've had to dart. So my issue is that when that happens, luckily on this situation there was some like loose rocks about. So Anthony managed to tap mine down small enough so the pole jack would go over it, and then it was still such a tight fit that I didn't need to put any tenacious tape, because I did have a little emergency tin with me that's got all sorts of first aid kit and patches and stuff like that, whistle, spare lighter, ferro rod, steri-tabs, that kind of stuff. And I didn't need to use that because it was that tight, and it did a great job. And as you can see, it's the end section, so I don't actually need a full new pole. I just need that one section. I don't know if you can buy a section, or do I end up getting a full pole or what? I'm not sure. But so this is the issue now. Now, if that had have happened in the Lake District on a summit in winter when everything's frozen and you've not got anything to knock the pole thickness from being broken wide to how narrow it needs to be to get the pole jack over it, that's it, you're knackered. Now, I've always prided myself in my fitness, and I know that wherever I go in the UK, whether it'll be fitness or sheer determination, I know that I can get myself off a mountain safely in any condition. But what concerns me is that I've never considered if a pole broke in winter. Now, if I had an ice axe with me, well, if I had two, I'd have one with an adze on it and one with a hammer. So I'd be able to tap it down, but then I've got to find a surface I haven't had to tap it down on. But it's just something to bear in mind, because who takes that kind of thing with them? I mean, some people will take a Leatherman. I've got a Leatherman, and it's got some pliers in it, and that'd do the job as well, but weighs about 300 grams, and I don't want 300 grams, or I didn't want 300 grams. So I'm just going to be mindful now that if that happens, then, you know, I need to be prepared for it. And so should you lot as well. So just let that sink in, especially if you're on your own, and especially if you're one of these that likes to drink, because, I mean, I've only got one regret in my life, and that is ever starting drinking. Because in my life, I've made some bad decisions when I've been drunk. When I was 20, I was in Belize with the army, and I was in the artillery, and we was out there with 3 para, and every year they have an annual competition, and it's called the Mackay VC Trophy. And what it is, it's a competition over about a week, and basically it's testing all your skills, all your basic skills and advanced skills. There's all sorts, you know, live firing, you're getting scored points, navigation, stuff like that. And believe me, navigating in the jungle in Belize is murder, because your map doesn't work, because you can't see anything because you're in thick jungle. Your compass doesn't work because there's iron ore everywhere, so you've got to use other skills. This video is not going to be long enough to go through all that. But anyway, so my crew, being artillery lads, we was OPs, and what that means is we're observation post. We're the eyes and the ears of the British Army. We're the most forward troops. We're the ones that direct artillery and aircraft and the Navy onto targets. So anyway, so when you're in a para environment and you're a crap hat, because that's what they call normal people who are not, you know, Marines or paras, they call you crap hats and try and take the piss. But anyway, we whopped their arse. Us 4 lads whopped them. And what was good was my boss at the time, this major, he was one of these that had done his P company. So when you do P company, you can wear your wings, but you don't wear the beret. So he was like our battery commander. And in the mess, he used to get pure shit off all the para officers. So because we whopped the para's ass, he sent us back into camp to celebrate, and he gave us a crate of beer. So us lads have gone back into camp, Holdfast Camp it was called in Belize. We've drank this beer and we all got pissed pretty quick because, you know, we're totally dehydrated from the exercise that we've been involved with. But then we sneaked out of camp, didn't we? We went downtown. So we managed to do that because there was low security at camp. And basically we've gone into town, I say town, it's like a little village. And we've got hammered there. And I've ended up getting really, really pissed and wanted to go home. So I've decided to walk, which was like 20 kilometres. And then along the way, an RAF Land Rover stops and picks me up. And then I fall asleep in it. And then I wake up and I'm back in the middle of the village. And there's no one there, but the keys are in it. So in my drunken state, 20-year-old me decides to drive it back to camp and just leave the Land Rover on the road. So I wasn't nicking it, I was borrowing it. Anyway, so somewhere along that path, I ended up falling asleep at the wheel and I wrote the vehicle off and it was a right mess. And I ended up getting put in prison for 28 days. So what I'm trying to say is that when you're out in the mountains and you're one of these that's like a drink, just don't go overboard. I know a load of you do, and I've been young once, and I know sometimes, you know, it's like medicine, and whatever's going on in your life, sometimes it's a quick fix to just, you know, clear your brain and stuff like that. But I'm old enough and wise enough and ugly enough now to know that my therapy and my medicine is getting out. I don't drink, I'm not drunk for more than 10 years, and I'm so proud of that. And it's just my biggest regret, because I wish I'd have had this realisation years ago, because like I said, I've made some poor decisions. I've woke up in my bed with women can't even remember where I've met them and stuff like that. So yeah, I've had all sorts of fights and what have you, and I'm lucky to still be alive really. But when you're up on that mountain and you're in your tent and you've had a few beers and the shit hits the fan, the wind changes direction and you've not got a good enough tent to serve the purpose that you're trying to, you know, put it in, you're going to be up shit streak and you could end up easily, that's it, game over, dead. Or injured, you know, when you try to scurry off a mountain. So yeah, so just bear that in mind. Take your pole jacks with you, and bear in mind that if you're going to be out in winter time, you're going to need something to do that little compression thing. I mean, you might have a mate, like luckily for me, I would have got in with Anthony because he was in the QU Stormstar, weren't he? And there was enough room in there for two. So anyway, so going forward next year, one video that I am going to make, and I've discussed this with Anthony, is that between me and him, we've had all the brands over the decades, because between the pair of us, we're not far off having 100 years of experience, and we've seen gear develop over the years, different brands, you know, come and go, what brands are, you know, serve whatever purpose we need. And he's a proper gear nerd. I would call myself a gear junkie, and I wasn't until I met him, because I didn't care about what anything weighed. And then as I've got older, I really appreciate that, you know, the more technical stuff, the lighter stuff, which happens to be more expensive, serves my purpose better. So yeah, so I'm going to do a video where me and him are talking about what is the, really, it'll be about the best big threes and the reason why we consider them to be the best. And we'll talk about all the stuff that we've had. So it'll be about rucksacks, sleeping bags, tents, and another one, sleeping mats as well. So yeah, so that's something for you all to look forward. But in the meantime, it's Christmas. And like I said, I've been young once. If you're going to go out and get wrecked, make sure you're fully rehydrated, because I keep seeing these people, these YouTubers, knees, hips, ankles and all this sort of stuff. They've got dodgy whatever. Just bear in mind that, you know, alcohol dehydrates, doesn't it? And it also slows your reaction time down and stuff like that. And you don't want to be waking up in the morning in the tent, cold, stiff, dehydrated, and trying to take yourself off on a mountain in a different, you know, in a difficult situation. So yeah, so have a good time. Spend time with your loved ones, and if you're unfortunate enough to not have anyone who you can spend time with, just, you know, don't let yourself go under. Don't drink yourself into oblivion. Keep yourself busy. You know, do some research. Use your time wisely. And hopefully next year we'll all have a great, adventurous, safe, healthy time. So God bless. Thanks again for subscribing, and I'll see you all very soon. I'm off to the climbing wall now, and I'll, you know, see what my body's got to offer today. So all the best for the new year. Take care. Bye bye.